I can't believe it. I have finished my dream project. Yay! The dream project I am talking about is the house dressing pattern. It is by The Flying Yak and it was published in May 2017. It is a dress that I have had in my queue for many, many years. If not, soon after it was published. I can't recall when I popped it in my queue. But I knew that I wanted to knit this dress and it has been the dream project for many years. So in 2021, Felicia, who is the founder of Soulcraft Festival, spoke about your dream projects, and every single person she interviewed, she asked about what their dream project was and why haven't they cast it on or started sewing this dream project. So that was in October of 2021, and in December 2021 I cast on this dress. I went for Bendigo Woollen Mills Classic 5-ply. There's no hiding from the fact that I love this yarn. I use it a lot and you will hear me talking about it all the time in my podcast here. So I knew I wanted to go with a green or a blue. This wasn't quite the green that I expected to find, but I'm quite happy with the colour. It is the Broadleaf colourway and it's pretty nice. I like it. I was going for a darker green, but I'm pretty happy with the outcome of this dress. And for the houses, I used the cream in the Classic 5-ply, and the only downside with all these floats being so long is that you can sort of sometimes see the cream coming out in the sky here. When I took photos of blocking it, I could see it really, really clearly, but now that I'm wearing it, I can't see it all that much. So I'm pretty happy with the outcome of the two colours that I chose to put together for this dress. So the big problem I had with this pattern was that it didn't appear to be very size inclusive. I have a larger bust and it seemed to be that was the area where I was going to come into difficulty. But I have not. So in terms of fit, the one part that is tighter than I sort of expected it to be is the waist. Now, it's only because of the method that she used in the pattern to fuse the skirt and the bodice together. It is not very flexible at all. So I'm pulling it here. It is taut. Very, very taut. Now, it feels fine and it doesn't cut in at all. I have got some room. But when I'm putting this dress on, I have to slide it over my bust very carefully because this is very narrow compared to here. So I just have to be mindful of when I am putting the dress on and off. It does take a little bit of time just to gently pull it over the bust area. But it is not uncomfortable to pull over, so it's not a big issue. The one big issue I have had is that the bodice has turned out much larger than I expected. So the skirt fits fine, but this bodice has a lot of fabric at the side. And it's okay, it doesn't bother me too much, but you can see that there's fabric here. And to be honest, this waistband part, that's where it sits. And I actually would prefer if it sat up higher. So what I've done to get around this is I've added a belt to put over, and I can actually tuck it a little bit, put the belt over it, and it's sort of hiding it a bit at the moment. I'm very tempted to go in here and do some sort of grafting to bring this in a bit, but to be honest, this is off the needles now. It feels comfortable to wear. It might look a little bit lumpy and bumpy in some areas on the bodice, but I am, 99% happy with the outcome of this dress, fit-wise, like comfort-wise. Would I like it to have fitted a little bit better? Of course I would. It is my dream project. I've been wanting to wear this for years and years, and now that I've cast it off, it is a little bit disappointing that even though I swatched, I went up a needle size, went up yarn size as well. So the pattern calls for 4-ply yarn and I've used 5-ply, so it calls for fingering weight. I've used sport weight. The skirt came out perfectly. The measurements of the skirt are perfect. So why does the bodice turn out larger than the skirt when it's all supposed to have the same gauge? I'm not sure what's happened, but I do know that when I got halfway through the decreasing of the bodice, I was like, this is not decreasing fast enough. Now, I do have a shorter torso than I do the length of my legs. So I might have, a shorter torso than the regular average person, but this bodice would have turned out to be about that much longer if I had continued decreasing every 10 rows rather than speeding it up to every 5 rows. But when I realized this was happening, I was halfway through the decreasing and I'd already been decreasing every 10 rows. So if I just started with decreasing every 5 rows at the beginning, I think I would have ended up in the sort of waist area I wanted to end up. Oh, my beanie keeps sliding down. This is what happens when you wash your hair. It's all slippery and smooth. So right now in the dead of winter, I want to be wearing a really lovely warm dress. And I'm already loving how warm my legs are with the dress on. It's really nice. I do either need to put on a jumper underneath or put a cardigan on over the top. Or, wear a shawl or something because my arms are bare and they are cold when I'm outside. When I was taking footage just before, I was getting a bit cold. I did have the plans to lengthen the sleeves, but with how this bodice was turning out, I didn't want to put any more time into this piece. So I decided to cast off a little bit, a little bit longer than the pattern asks for. And I did a rolled hem on the arm like I did on the skirt. The pattern does call for the hem on the skirt to be this way, but the sleeves are finished in I think a garter stitch, and it's just sort of rolls like this part rolls here. Now this neckline is supposed to be worn sort of gathered in the front a bit like this. And it doesn't sit like that well at all. It wants to go like this. And my hat's falling off again. Stay on, beanie. So yes, it wants to do this, and I actually really love it just like this. It's sort of got a medieval Renaissance sort of look about it, and this is my favorite. My favorite, you know, is off the shoulder stuff, but this one is, yeah, it's turned out beautifully. I'm really happy with the neckline just staying like so. So my only dislike about this dress is this bit here. If I had decreased faster, it would have been more fitted in here and it would have finished higher up. There's a lot of fabric in here. So if you have any suggestions on how I can change this bodice without having to knit it all over again, please, you know, send me links to videos on how to, you know, graft and take out a big chunk of knitting. As I said, I could undo the waistband, take it all the way up and decrease and do what I want to do. And I probably will end up doing that. But I feel like I'll just wear this for now, wear it through winter and see how I go, see how I feel. I really love the idea of knitting a belt in the same color as the houses, and I can pop that around my waist to sort of, you know, bring up the waistband a bit, well, to make it appear like the waistband is higher. I'm currently doing that with my belt, which looks just perfectly fine to me. So I will see how I go. There is, you know, still all this fabric up here that kind of looks a bit bunchy at times. But then my daughter's also said it kind of looks like the top is a bit of a shawl throw rather than a tight-fitted bodice. So yeah, let me know what you think. What do you think it looks like? Do you think it looks okay as it is right now? It's definitely comfortable. Like it's not disturbing me in any way. We are getting rid of the hat because I'm tired of having to put it on all the time. So let me know in the comments what you think about this dress. How do you think I should go about changing it, or do you think I should just leave it and just wear it for now, see how I go? Or do you think that it's perfect the way it is and it is just a different style to what the dress, you know, was supposed to look like? There is a lot of knitting in this dress. I spent many hours on this garment and I want it to look nice, but I'm very hesitant to put any more time into it just right now at the moment. I have a huge amount of yarn left over. I could knit this bodice all over again and do it differently and then just take this one off and put the new one on. And you know, I might do that. I might just do that. It did take a huge amount of time to cast on these 200 and something stitches of the neckline and, you know, make sure I didn't twist it when I joined in the round. And there was a lot of knitting in this bodice. But if I bring the underarm up higher, there's less increasing, and then there's less decreasing because I'm bringing the waistband up. So it should, in fact, take less time than when, you know, the time it took for me to knit this bodice. And now I'm just thinking on the spot, but I could just make this top, this bodice here into a top. I could do that. I think I've just come up with my resolution for this large bodice problem. But yeah, do still tell me what you think below. I'd love to hear from you. Also, let me know if you've completed any of your dream projects. What is your dream project? Do you have one? I am now on the lookout for my next dream project. I'm going to think big again, and I think I'm going to do another dress. So after finishing this dream project of mine, I definitely encourage you to go out there and cast on something more difficult than you are doing at the moment. Something more challenging with hundreds and hundreds of stitches, or with a huge amount of colour work or cables, or something you have not ever done before, or something that you've looked at and wanted in your wardrobe for forever, whether it's something sewn or crocheted or knitted or woven. You know, I encourage you to go and start that dream project that you've always wanted to wear or to make, and get started, because it took me, 1.5 years to knit this on and off, doing other projects as well. And now that I'm finished, I feel like I can accomplish so much more than I thought I could. I can definitely cast on another project that I thought was going to take too much time, that I wouldn't have the ability to finish it because I do procrastinate, and I do have this tendency to cast on a whole lot of new projects and forget about that one big project that's just a little bit intimidating and scary. So I've done it here, and I encourage you to have a go. You can always end up pulling it out again if it doesn't work out. And I'm a big believer that even if we fail at a project, we've learnt something. I've definitely learnt something about this project. I've definitely learnt something from all the projects that I've worked on. And it feels good when you achieve something, but it also feels good when you put another thing that you've learnt into your memory bank, and then you have more tools and more ideas in your head to be able to go forward and complete the next project. Thank you so much for watching my little video on my dream project, this beautiful dress that I have completed. And I look forward to bringing you another podcast episode soon with some projects that I have cast on. Because when you cast off a big project, you cast on all the things. See you next time, friends. Bye.